Hello and welcome to the inside of the van. Indeed, it's not my van, as you can probably tell. This is a Cartago, one of the top of the range models they have. Anyway, you can see the van in another film because now I'm going to tell you about this place that I visited last week. The name of it is Pardubice. It is in Czechia, once called the Czech Republic. And I know you've possibly never heard of it, but I thought it was a great visit that I had there. It was en route, so I admit I didn't go there specially, but as part of a tour, it's a great location. Now, to get there, obviously I went there in my motorhome and I stayed at a place. It was a parking, it was originally a barracks, military barracks. I think this was the parade ground where it's now a parking place, but it costs next to nothing. It costs 5 Czech crowns for the weekend, or it's 5 Czech crowns a day if you're not there at the weekend, which is about 20 cents, something like that. So it's very, very cheap. Of course, I mean, it's a parking space that's there's no facility there. You're not going to get any water. There's not even a rubbish bin there, never mind anything else. There's a second location you can stop at should you come in a motorhome, and that's beside the Elbe River. That's a bit more expensive. I think the price is 5 or 10 crowns per hour in working time. But that not only is it next to the Elbe, but it's a very short walk into the old town. Whereas I had a bit longer walk, was a couple of kilometers away from the old town. Now, okay, Old Town, it's really very attractive. Now, what you can do is going there, you've got parts of the city wall are still standing, and the gate, the Green Gate it's called, which overlooks the town. And if you go up there, you can learn a little bit about the history of the town, and you can find out why the coat of arms of the town is half a horse, the front half of a horse. Well, I'll tell you why. It's because sometime in history, during the siege of Milan, somebody was in the coming out of Milan when the portcullis came down, chopped the horse in two, but he carried the horse out. So that still stood. And the use of the horse is quite significant because Pardubice is noted for its steeplechase, which has gone on for something like 125 years, and it was twice cancelled in the 19th century. I think it wasn't due to bad weather, and once in 1968 due to the Soviet invasion. So it's something with a lot of history behind it. And so, anyway, go up to the top of this tower, and then you've got this fantastic view of the market square and the area around. Now, obviously, it's a former socialist and country, shall we say? So it's got these tower blocks. Of course, people had to live somewhere, so that's to be understood. But you've also got this the magnificent old area, and certainly walking around some of these streets, it's got this very much this old world feeling about it. It's very reminiscent, in my opinion, of the Austro-Hungarian Empire at the end of the 19th century. Obviously, it was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, so that's understandable. Some of the buildings, they are somewhat also, I would say, remind you of some of the buildings, for example, in France from the latter half of the 19th century, or indeed Vienna. Again, I mean, that's understandable. Why? There's also a castle there. Now, the castle's not a military castle, it's more of a chateau, a sort of a place where people once lived. And this chateau, it dates to, it's a 16th century, larger what you can see today. It's got walls, and you can sort of visit it and walk around it. And it's very pleasant. And Pardubice is a very green town. I mean, I travelled around on my bicycle as well, so that was very, very good. Also, the cycle routes are well marked out, so that was quite good. Now, as you may be aware, I'm also a bit of a military historian, so I visited some sites related to things which happened during the Second World War. And one of these sites is related to the assassination of Reinhard Heydrich, which took place in Prague at the end of May. Well, he died in June. But after that, there was this manhunt. It was, I think, the biggest manhunt in history at that time, and which led to all sorts of terror happening. And some people from the Czech resistance were in Pardubice, and I followed the route. You can actually get from the tourist office a audio guide, and that will take you around the route which one of these heroes, the resistors, actually, when he fled from his house, the route he took until the place he was eventually killed. Oh, well, he was fatally shot because he actually died later in hospital. On the same subject, I took a tour out. Well, it was in my van, of course, and I went to a place called Czechia, which is a village like Lidice, which was Lidice is near Prague, which was destroyed by the Nazis, and in reprisal. And in the case of Czechia, it was because of the fact the resistance had been based in this small village, but Czechia has been kept as a memorial, so that's something I found particularly interesting. Now, coming back to Pardubice, you'd want to try out the local food and the what's typical of the region, and if you're a drinker, you'd probably want to try out the local beers as well. Czechia is above all noted for its beer. Right, so that's a brief overview of a place I have been to recently, and I shall be doing a longer explanation of some of these places. It will be on my site Travel on YouTube, which I have recently started, and haven't done much with it yet because I want to keep this site here for my motorhome stuff, so I might I'll have motorhomes on it. And I'll have brief introductions like this one here to places I have been to, and of course the overnight stopping places and this type of thing. They'll be on this channel, but in more in-depth they'll be on Travel on YouTube, which is of course not just for people who travel by motorhome, but people who travel by other things. And the history stuff is on my history site called History on YouTube. So if you're interested in history, please do subscribe to that. I'll be doing lots of stuff related to the 80th anniversary of the Second World War, which is this year, because this year is 2019, but by the time you're watching it'll probably be 2032 or something like that, but at the moment it's 2019, and if it is 2032, I'll probably be doing something for whatever is an anniversary in that year. Thank you very much for watching, and keep watching my other films, I hope anyway. Thank you.